This was a dark and rail dungeon in Ep 1, where he walked through and he dragged his dagger along the roof like this.
Craig Parker is one of the great villains I've ever seen on screen. He is such a great dark and raw because he completely plays it as if he's not a villain, as if he's the good guy. And when he gives his side of the story, you believe it.
We want dark and roll not to be frightening to look at. His actions are frightening. So we've got a quite good-looking, charming character played by Craig Parker.
This is quite an honor. It's not every day I get to meet the Seeker.
These are our builders and our department. And...
Shh, don't disrupt them in their natural habitat.
They're feeding right now.
The studio environment, of course, is could be done anywhere, but maybe there's a little bit of New Zealand in the world of the studio environment, even though the sets are built indoors.
It's hard to imagine, what a fantasy world would really look like, but when you go to New Zealand, it just seems to lend itself to this kind of storytelling.
New Zealand is a great place for the fantasy world because it was settled late in the world's history, and because the people who lived there originally didn't mess it up in advance.
New Zealand offers a great landscape and great crews and great stunts, and we can realize a world and bring it fully to life in order to deliver the entertainment value that the audience wants from this particular genre.
A lot of it, of course, like any show, is shot on sound stages.
When you're surrounded by this, you can lose yourself easily.
Yeah,
totally,
yeah, just like tromping through and having to climb up over rocks and stand on things and twigs breaking under your feet and everything.
It's not like we have to work with like a 1 meter radius. They've got this. I mean, this is huge. This is massive. This is a field of death.
The Gars is a 12-piece prosthetic, basically. Most of it is a head cowl, a face appliance, chest appliance, back appliance, shoulders, finger extensions, leg appliances, feet, and a lot of body painting.
Awesome. I'm nothing compared to you. You did!
We got you!
Yes, mistress. How does it feel to be in something that's not like normal clothes?
Quite heavy.
Yeah.
Especially after having lunch.
Yeah, right. It's all real leather, eh? And everything.
Yeah,
It's quite heavy, eh?
Yeah.
All of our costumes are all designed and built from scratch.
Richard is a woodsman, so his costume is a very functional costume. There's leather, the colours are, sort of quite earthy.
And this is where Kaylin keeps her daggers. There's none there at the moment.
No daggers there right now.
We don't need to fight yet, do we?
I should be armed at all times, but for a set tour I figured I'd be all right. I wouldn't get into any scrapes.
So this is a Kaylin confessor coat. The weight of this it's quite a heavy fabric, which gives it a really good flow. The velvet catches the light a little bit. It's lined with silk so that if you see the inside, it sort of you get a kick of light. It laces down the front. There's hand stitching all the way down here in a metallic thread that's one thread silver, one thread gold. And then down the back we've sort of got this lacing system, which is a design detail, but also we can thread this through with elastic, which means that we can sort of give more movement across the back, but still keep the shape. So that's kind of useful for the stunts and action sequences.
One thing that exists in New Zealand, and some of this, has to do with the television industry that was created by Rob Tappert and Sam Raimi many years ago during Xena and Hercules, is that there are some just extraordinary stunt performers and fight choreographers.
Alan Poppert, the stunt coordinator and swordmaster for the show, put together a very
intense sort of training regime from day one, which they learnt, and it taught them everything from the basics right through to double swords and naming each part of the weapons that they were using. Craig came with a massive amount of adrenaline and just buzzing, and was really, really keen on trying anything that we threw at him. And Bridget, with her sort of a dancing style background, good flexibility with the dancing as well.
I think you see a man and a woman fighting together as equals. And a lot of fantasy, science fiction, action generally has either a male hero or a female hero. But this show has both.
We're very fortunate also, I think, to have lead actors who are very athletic.
If you take Craig's character, Richard, he's from the forest, so he's used to, you know, axes and things like that. So his sword play is based on that. With Bridget, using her dancing background, we sort of thought it'd be kind of nice to have her flowing. She's got, you know, flowing movements with double daggers and swords. The horses that we got on set belong to Wayne McCormick, who is, we call him the Gentle Giant. He is an absolute pleasure to work with on set. Him and his horses, it's just this calming effect. And I've never dealt with it before, ever.
Richard.
I'm okay. Yeah, their experience pretty limited. Craig, I think, may have worked on a show, just only rode a couple of times. And Bridget, from my memory, she hadn't rode at all. In one way, it's quite an advantage to us because we can mould them, and sometimes it's harder to change habits and what it is to show them the basics right from the start, and mould them how we want. So we had them out here every day for probably three weeks or more, and yeah, they're both fairly confident riders now. Craig especially very confident, and he's quite an accomplished horseman in a short time, so they're a pleasure to work with, make our job easy, you know.
We do a lot with surprisingly little. There are also, you know, some incredibly talented artists in New Zealand.
We continue to be blessed with working with people who are just total professionals and bring all kinds of qualities that we had never hoped for as producers.
I think that the ability of the people in New Zealand to make many, many loaves and fishes out of one loaf of bread and one fish is astonishing.